So it's another month, it's another update for Payday 3, and this one actually has a lot to go over, besides the Turbid Station rework, because aside from the fact that it is now completable and loud, which I won't be talking about because of most of what I'm going to be going over is what has been changed in this rework, there is a lot. There's actually a lot more than I expected there to be, so I decided to note down everything that I noticed that was changed, which is especially notable because this was one of my favorite stealth heists from the first year, Payday 3. So, let's just start from the top. As you can very easily see from the very beginning, the lighting in this heist is vastly different. There are a lot of areas that look much more bright. There are much better lighting focuses on things that you actually need to go after, and there's a lot more dark areas too, making it genuinely feel much more murky. And I actually really like the difference in lighting now. It makes it feel, ironically, more alive. The heist also starts you mask up from the jump now, which I would be against if it weren't for the fact that the main train yard is now a private area, and considering it's a private area, the worst thing that would happen to you if you were unmasked is you just get escorted out, and that just trivializes stealth so easily, so I can understand the decision behind that. But the other thing that makes stealth so much more unique is that the train yard is no longer a secure area, meaning you can actually just sprint through there, run, jump, parkour, do all the things that were advertised, emphasize the verticality so much. That alone changes how the stealth of this heist works so much. It's insane, and it's fun, and I love it. On top of the changes to the lighting, there's also changes to the train cars visually. Each one now has a name, named after a moon in space. Callisto, which is going to be the SSD car. Europa, which is going to be the keypad code car. Ganymede, the red keycard car. And Io, the QR code car. I've tested this on multiple different runs, and each one of these names will correlate to each unlock method. So if you get the objective of open the Callisto and Europa ones, you know for a fact you'll need the SSD and the keypad code. You probably noticed that I didn't mention the remote door when I went through all 4 train cars, and that's because the Quant's employee is no longer an NPC on this heist. Instead, the room that you would drag him to make him unlock it is replaced. Well, the room is the same, but the computer inside replaces the remote door unlock with 3 codes for the remote code door. And the way you get in there is by using the same Wi-Fi router that was first added into Touch the Sky that originated from Shopping Spree, which is neat. And also in the basement, there is a security room for the cameras in the basement. I don't see the point of this. I mean, it's nice, I guess. There are holes in the basement vents, which basically means you can fall in now, and it also makes it much easier to hide bodies, even though you can still very easily do that with shotguns. Which, speaking of bodies, there are body dumps that you can hide people's bodies in now, which is pretty nice. The last 2 things that I noticed that were changed were one thing that applies to multiple heists, actually, and that is the fact that you can now grab the drones that were hovering in the sky after you shoot them down, so that the guards... You can avoid having guards see them and automatically put you in searching in stealth, and it is so fun, even if there's only like 3 heists that this applies to. I never really needed to worry about these in syntax error, but having the ability to remove them as a factor at all does have a very good sense of satisfaction to it as well, especially since you throw those things pretty far. And lastly, the Quant trains, instead of having a panel on only one side, they have panels on both sides, so you can hack whichever side you find is more convenient instead of being forced to go to one side instead of another, which, I mean, I'm not against it. I don't really know if I like it either, but all these changes combine to make the heist feel a lot faster, even though in actuality, especially if you don't get the boat exit, the heist is actually only about as fast as it is normally. Or at least it is if you've, like me, and you've mastered the entire thing by this point. Of course, the Turbid Station rework is not the only thing that was added in this patch, as there's also new weapons in a new weapon bag. And yes, there's the RPK. I never really cared about this. I mean, it's cool to have. I don't really care. The DLC weapons, the assault rifle is good. There's nothing really of note of it. It's just a good assault rifle. The SMG secondary, I don't really care about it that much, aside from the fact that it is a secondary SMG, which on its own opens up so many more build possibilities. With just the way that you can actually finally have a SMG in your secondary slot. So you can make an assault rifle SMG, sniper rifle SMG, shotgun SMG, whatever you want. And you can just... That kind of thing is something that I really like to see. It's more variety, and that's good variety. What isn't good variety is the jumping grenade. It's a frag grenade. And it jumps. Riveting. But really, probably the biggest thing that you're buying the Swedish weapon pack for is the rocket launcher. Because it's a rocket launcher. And that also segues neatly into the other thing that was added in this, and that's a complete rework of the overskills, making the old overskills into perks for each overkill weapon. I think this is a cool idea, but the execution of it is not good. It's not good for most of them. The one that I will defend, though, is the minigun. But I do understand points of why it was bad, because, yeah, if nothing else, this finally got the minigun the damage buff it needed. But what I'm going to use as the example of the overskill perks needing some work is choosing between tanking up and killer armor. Killer armor basically gives you a 2% or 2% defense damage reduction increase for every kill you get, depending on your armor type. Or you can get tanking up, which literally just refills your armor. That's a no-brainer choice. That's stupid. So what if instead it was something like you restored 1 armor plate for every 15 damage reduction you gained with the minigun, and the other perk that you could choose from refills up to 4 armor plates at once if you have 50 damage reduction buff gained. That kind of choice is a lot better and would actually incentivize you to choose and decide how you want to go about things. Well, it's a choice of how do you want to serve X purpose. That's kind of the thing that this is supposed to be, and that would make it end up doing that a lot better. The similar thing with the Red Fox's first perk, which is basically graze. Instead of the other one, it really should be pierce a certain amount of surfaces and you get 1 bullet back, to really emphasize either the wall piercing or the AoE aspect of the weapon, and make it feel more like an actual overkill sniper rifle. Other overkill weapons do suffer a lot more, though, because the Red Fox, the minigun, those are pretty good, and the rocket launcher I didn't really test, but it works well for what it needs to do. Sociopath and the Mamba, though, are a lot worse than they used to be. Because Sociopath's first perk is basically reducing damage in one way or another, which, if you ask me, it really should be a choice of do you want a perk that decreases your damage taken or increase the amount of damage the bat does, that would be so much more interesting. Or a perk choice of either restore your health or restore your overkill meter more. That kind of thing. Those things. Choices between how do you want to use this overkill weapon. Those are the kinds of choices these should be. And that's what they can be. These just need a lot of work. It's a good system, and as someone who has had all the overkill weapons maxed out for months now, I don't remember what the grind was like, and I don't remember liking it. So I much prefer this on the surface, but the perks themselves do need a lot of work. Especially on something like the Mamba. This still sucks. The notes I've written down are it needs different ammo types like flash and electric rounds that could lead to some pretty crazy team play, like debuffing a dozer with a flash round for somebody else to take them down with. But instead it's just all of the old overskills, but now you can only have 2 of them. This thing doesn't even have ammo types. This is kind of like Skills 2.0 again. The system itself is really cool, but the actual skills themselves need a lot of work. And the other things that were added besides quality of life things is there's contracts with PUBG cosmetics. Neat. I don't really care. I'm sorry, I just don't care. That's kind of the way you can summarize this patch in general. It's like, it's cool, but the amount of care you're gonna have is definitely gonna vary. This is one of the hit or miss updates, and that's certainly for better or worse, because next month there's going to be an overhaul to the weapon UI and inventory UI, at least that's what they've said, and a rework of Touch the Sky, which, I mean, the reworks on point, aside from the loud half of Turbid Station at this point, because that feels unfinished. In general, yeah, this is a good update, and I think it is definitely worth trying the game out again. And they finally added more DLC into it after way too long. What a mess.